The story of this missing baby is actually going to be an update. So we have some new charges on the biological father in this situation. We've talked about this story before. If you're not sure if I've talked about a story, if you email me or whatever the case is, you could also search our channel and type in a name. And hopefully if I've did it correctly, you should be able to find the story that you're looking for. So this is going to be an update for us. But let me give you guys a disclaimer about my content. Some viewers may find the following content offensive and controversial. The information in this video comes from multiple sources, including court records, official police charges, news web articles, and interviews. This video commentary also contains my personal opinions about the facts of this story. The point is to use this story as a cautionary tale in hopes of preventing tragedies like these to children going forward. Viewer discretion is advised. That is your official disclaimer. And we're getting this story from WOW, so wowktv.com. So if you're listening, thank you for the article. Huntington, the father of an infant who disappeared more than 2.5 years ago. 2.5 years ago. It don't seem like it's been that long. 2.5 years ago has been indicted on charges related to that baby's death. Now, according to Huntington Police Department, Shannon Patrick Overstreet. That's a beautiful baby too. Let me see if I can get his stupid face on my screen. This man right here, Shannon Patrick Overstreet, faces charges of death of a child by a parent, guardian, or custodian, or other persons by child abuse, murder, and concealment of a deceased human body. The charges stem from the disappearance of his daughter, Angel Overstreet, in May of 2021. It does not seem like it was that long ago, which led to a multi-agency investigation involving agencies from both West Virginia and Kentucky, as well as the FBI. The HPD says that investigators collected evidence indicating Overstreet as allegedly responsible for her death and for concealing her body. Angel Nicole Overstreet, who was last seen in early May of 2021, she was just 3 months old at the time. Authorities first reported that she was missing on May 25th and said that her whereabouts since May 8th could not be confirmed. She was about 3 months old at the time. According to HPD at the time, West Virginia Child Protective Services representatives had contacted authorities saying that they were following up with Angel's father, Shannon Overstreet, on a custody issue from Kentucky. The CPS worker said that he told them he turned Angel over to CPS 2 weeks earlier, but investigators were not able to substantiate a custody exchange. The following day, May 26, HPD officials said that they were concerned for Angel's safety. However, an Amber Alert was never issued due to the amount of time she had already been missing. So for those who don't know, Amber Alerts have to meet a certain criteria. Otherwise, they cannot issue an Amber Alert. So if you might be wondering why, it just didn't meet the criteria. The search for Angel soon spanned in Kentucky, and authorities even drained and searched a pond on her father's property in Carter County, Kentucky, for evidence of her disappearance or even Angel herself. According to the indictment against Overstreet, he is accused of causing her death in West Virginia and then taking her body to Kentucky. Police have not stated if Angel's remains have ever been found. Again, let me repeat. They've never confirmed her remains to be found. Late Friday night, Kentucky State Police said in a press release, through a thorough and exhaustive investigation, those are some big words, sufficient evidence was gathered to enable the Huntington Police Department to secure an indictment for the arrest of Shannon Overstreet. The statement was in relation to a search in June of 2021 at a location in Olive Hill, though no specific location was given. The Huntington Police Department, FBI, and West Virginia Intelligence Fusion Center, the U.S. Marshal Service, the Kentucky State Police, the West Virginia State Police, and Child Protective Services, that's a lot of agencies, from West Virginia and Kentucky were all involved in investigating Angel's disappearance. Overstreet is currently serving a sentence on an unrelated charge of maliciously assaulting his mother and forgery. There's also another big twist to this story, which I will probably put this in the title of this particular video. This man is trying to avoid prosecution on a technicality. It is a technicality that deals with marriage, believe it or not. That is another huge break in this case. So he's trying to avoid being held responsible, but we'll get into that here in a moment. He was sentenced in January of 2023 on the 2022 indictment of assaulting his mother and forgery. That has nothing to do with what I just talked about. In that court case, he is accused of allegedly grabbing the victim by her hair, dragging her through the yard and up the steps, and then allegedly hitting her several times in March of 2021 prior to Angel's disappearance. The complaint states that when the victim went to a medical facility a couple days after the incident, medical professionals found that she had a significant brain bleed. This is a developing story, and WOWK 13 will update this article as more information becomes available. Here's the technicality. He's trying to get married in order to not be held accountable for some of these charges. And more specifically, the woman that he's trying to marry will not be forced to testify against him if he gets married to her. How about that? Y'all got to hear this. Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use. It is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107. And I'll let you guys hear from the news video, but I was just thoroughly shocked when I heard this. So I'll let you guys hear it. Do me a favor, please hit that thumbs up and share this. Leave a comment. Let me know what you guys think. Let's get into it.
We are following breaking news just into the newsroom. The father of a baby who has been missing for more than 2 years has now been indicted. Shannon Overstreet has been indicted for the death of a child by a parent by child abuse, murder, and concealment of a body. This is in connection to his 3-month-old child, Angel Overstreet. She was first reported missing in May of 2021. Reporter Lane Ball will have more later tonight on 13 News. A man accused of murdering his infant daughter made a request in court this morning to marry one of the witnesses in the case. Lane Ball has more from the courtroom.
Waive reading, Your Honor, into a plea of not guilty to any and all charges.
Tuesday morning, right here in Cabell County Circuit Court, Shannon Overstreet not only pled not guilty to charges related to Angel Overstreet's death, but he also says he plans to marry a key witness in this case.
I was going for it like Valentine's Day, but I don't got one exactly.
That's what Overstreet had to say after the prosecution, citing phone calls made by Overstreet behind bars, made the court aware of his plan to marry one of their key witnesses.
I'm not saying it's his intention to try to cut her off from us as a witness, but that would be the practical effect of it.
According to West Virginia State,
Saying it's his,
citing phone calls, says he plans to marry a key witness in this case. Charges related to Angel Overstreet's death, but he also says he plans to marry a key witness in this case. In Cabell County Circuit Court, Shannon Overstreet not only pled not guilty to charges related to Angel.
I hope y'all are listening, because I'm only going to rewind this a couple of times, and then I have a whole video so y'all can hear most of that conversation. He's planning to marry a witness so she doesn't have to testify against him. What woman would love a man so much that you would just flat out be that callous and that cold to what happened to a baby, his own baby? How can a man love you if he can't love his own child? Murder his own child and beat up his own mother and steal from her? Are we that desperate? and I'm talking to ladies in general. I know the ladies in my chat are very smart people. I don't think we would be that level of dumb. But what kind of woman would do that? What kind of woman would marry a man just so he doesn't have to face the murder of his daughter? Listen to this.
Overstreet's death, but he also says he plans to marry a key witness in this case.
I was going for like Valentine's Day, but I don't got one exactly.
That's what Overstreet had to say after the prosecution, citing phone calls made by Overstreet behind bars, made the court aware of his plan to marry one of their key witnesses.
I'm not saying it's his intention to try to cut her off from us as a witness, but that would be the practical effect of it.
According to West Virginia State Code, spouses may be compelled to testify on behalf of each other, but neither shall be compelled, nor without the consent of the other, allowed to be called as a witness against the other, except for an offense committed by one against the other. In other words, Morrison says if Overstreet marries the witness, she will not have to take the stand and testify against him.
Y'all hear that? And they both know this. I'm wondering, since I don't know what lawyer he has. I don't know if he had a public defender or not. How would they find that out as a technicality that she won't have to testify? I mean, however he found that out, it is what it is. Sneaky POS. I agree. Please hit that thumbs up. Please let me know that y'all heard this. See, the judge, this is going to be like this is laws on the books. The judge cannot deny this just based on what he thinks. He has to go with what the law is on the books. That's the problem. So if this man is able to marry this woman and this woman is dumb enough to marry this man, then he gets off, at least on some of this.
With this new information revealed unexpectedly and the judge unsure if he can legally prevent this, both the prosecution and defense say they need some time to look over all the details.
I have not had a chance to properly respond. I believe I'm due at least 5 days.
All I'm asking is we either delay it or perhaps the court will give us permission to have a deposition before we get there.
A deposition which, if approved, would allow the witness's testimony to be used without her physically being in the courtroom. The judge ruled there will be no bond and all parties will return to the courtroom in 2 weeks. No other rulings were made. As the court case moves forward, there's still one question on people's minds. Where is Angel Overstreet? That is still yet to be answered.
For the last few years, people have rallied and held vigils to ensure that Angel is never forgotten.
13 News reporter Lane Ball explains they are hoping that the wheels of justice will move forward for this tiny baby.
I guess it just kind of hit hard today.
Sylvia Butera lives hundreds of miles away in Mississippi, but she's one of many who created a group to answer the question, what happened to Angel Overstreet? When she found out Angel's father had been indicted for her murder, she experienced a roller coaster of emotions.
So if you guys are in that Facebook group, Where is Angel? If y'all are on that Facebook group, now you guys can actually post this in there. Maybe some people already have, and post that information in there that this man is trying to marry this woman for whatever reasons he wants to state that he's trying to marry her. But we believe that he's trying to marry her to get off from her being forced to testify and be called as a witness against him. He's trying to get off of that as far as a technicality. Make sure y'all post that in that Facebook group. That is a hell of a revelation.
I got sick to my stomach, and then I just bawled like a baby. I'm angry. Why does anyone hurt a little bitty baby?
Now, there's still some questions left unanswered, but while so many are dealing with this heartbreak, there's also a sense of relief.
I'm relieved because we don't have to wonder anymore if someone has her or where she's at.
Late Friday night, Kentucky State Police sent out a release saying through an exhaustive investigation, sufficient evidence was gathered from a location in Olive Hill, Kentucky, where Angel could have been located. While the indictment doesn't say if they found Angel's body, whether they have or haven't.
I want to see this through to the end. We all do. We want to see justice for Angel.
In Huntington, Lane Ball, 13 News.
As the court is aware, often jail calls and corrections calls are monitored by law enforcement. And we've picked up a lot of traffic that Mr. Overstreet intends to marry one Clarissa Forrester, if he can get her to do that. And she's a witness in this particular matter. Now, I'm not saying it's his intention to try to cut her off from us as a witness, but that would be the practical effect of it. In fact, I've reviewed to date the transcripts of those calls, and I don't see that he's actually trying to make her unavailable as a witness. He just wants to get married, bottom line. Well, I don't want to stand in the way of true love and all that, but during the pendency of these proceedings, we have that spousal immunity and spousal privilege statute, and if they get married, then I can't use her as a witness.
Do you have any case law that says I have the power to stop a wedding?
I do not have any. I did discuss this with the head of DHS, and he said an order is an order, and if you get me one, we'll follow. But I don't have any case law on it.
I agree with the court. I believe that I don't think you can enter an order stopping any sort of marriage.
I can enjoin it for 2 weeks.
Y'all hear that? Somebody knows their law, and he's definitely trying to take advantage of it.
Well, you can't enjoy true love, as Mr. Morrison stated, but
Mr. Overstreet, you have a wedding date?
Not yet, sir. I was going for like Valentine's Day, but I don't got one exactly.
Well, let's
5 weeks.
Let's come back in 2 weeks and have this motion.
The investigation continues for Overstreet's infant daughter, Angel Overstreet, who was reported missing 2 months later. Police say she was last known to be with her father, but little information has been released since her disappearance. 13 News reporter Lane Ball has the latest on the case.
Angel Overstreet was first reported missing on May 25, 2021. She was 3 months old. It all started when West Virginia Child Protective Services said they were following up with Angel's father, Shannon Overstreet, on a custody issue from Kentucky. CPS workers confronted Overstreet, but he told them he turned Angel over to CPS 2 weeks earlier. Yet the agency said they had no record of that happening. Huntington police then took over the case, and that's when they discovered the last date anyone had contact with Angel was May 8th.
By the time the information came to us, the last known contact with the child was over 2 weeks away.
In June of 2021, HPD, Kentucky State Police, the U.S. Marshal's Office, and the FBI executed a warrant to drain a pond on Overstreet's property in Carter County, Kentucky. However, no evidence was found during this search. The latest update on this case came from HPD back in December 2021, and officials basically said the case will remain active until new information comes to light.
Let me go ahead and close that out, and I'm going to give my closing thoughts. Like I said, I think it's disgusting, but, you know, if there are loopholes in the law, that's why they're just meant to be tied up, voted on, and that's why whenever you guys vote and who you vote for is so important, because a situation like this, if this man is able to somehow thwart his responsibility for the death and disappearance of his baby for all these years, and for all of these different people from FBI to police to Child Protective Services, if he is able to beat all of them, I would be absolutely surprised. So you said they never found her. So Stormy, they have specifically stated that they don't want to say whether they found her body or not, which to me is just like, why can't they say that? I don't know if they're trying to protect something in the case. I don't know. But they are literally intentionally saying that they're not going to say whether they have found her or not. So I guess we'll just have to roll with that for now. But this is a very, very big one. Like I said, if he gets married and is able to prevent her from being a witness, being called as a witness, it's going to be very, very bad for this case. So keep prayer hands up that we want to get justice for this baby in this case against this alleged father. All these years that this has been going on, let's try to get some justice, and we need to get justice ASAP, okay? Let me know what you guys think. Thank you.